What are the necessary skills to become more effective and influential in your career or your business? Hi, I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations. There are certain skills that help you influence and create results so that you can become kind of more powerful in your industry, the go-to person. And those skills include project management, the understanding of supply chain, and ultimately the ability to organize a set of work in order to create specific deliverables. Now, how do you know what work needs to be done? Well, it starts with understanding the problem statement. What is the big problem that we're trying to solve here? Once you discover the problem statement, you can drive down into root cause. Why are we having this problem? What contributes to this problem? And then write out a simple project plan. I will not start any work without a one-page project plan. That one-page project plan is going to go over what the problem is. It's going to talk about the root cause. It's going to have what resources are available, a list of the deliverables, a schedule. It's going to focus our energy on getting specific work done. Too often people just kind of jump into something and they lose momentum and they get distracted and they end up with a lot of unfinished work. Now, to be fair, I got a lot of unfinished work too, but I tend to get the high value activities done. When you're in a marketplace and you're able to get the high value activities done, folks will overlook the things that don't get complete, but ultimately come to you when they have high value work to get done. Now, how do we do a problem statement? So a problem statement encompasses the core challenge, obstacle, or problem that a business is facing that you're going to help them solve. Now, if you're in an administrative role or you're just there, you'll be working on things that are kind of routine. But the folks that get paid top dollars, who have the most demand, or who are least likely to be laid off, are solving real problems for the business. Now, they're not looking for problems and finding problems that are not real. They're finding problems that have a high dollar value to solve. Obviously, if you're solving high dollar value problems, a fraction of that cost goes into your salary and is justified by the results generated from solving the big problem. But they're in positions that have problems to solve. So I do a lot of risk management work, and the problem commonly faced in the world of risk management is a gap in process that allows the potential for something bad to happen. So in the privacy area, are we protecting the customer's privacy? What elements are required to protect the customer's privacy? And if you don't find those elements, then there's a problem. And then you can write up the problem and describe what's the gap, what's the impact, who's involved here, where is the problem happening. Once you've clearly identified the problem, you're going to create an issue, you're going to create some kind of defect ticket, and then you can start building out the why. Why does this problem exist? Why does it exist in our environment but not in other environments? All this write-up is paragraphs. Now, it could require a couple hours of research. It could require interviewing some people. But ultimately, the skill of decomposing or breaking down a big issue into a specific problem that can be solved. Now, the problem, when you first write it down, it might be difficult to know how to solve it. But again, you have to write the problem up so that you can now do what's called a root cause analysis. The root cause analysis is not placing blame. It's specifically discovering what contributes to this problem. So if you have a problem in an automobile, you take it to someone who diagnoses the vehicle, looks into it, diagnoses it, tells you what the problem is. They have a library of resources to solve that problem, but all that's built on that root cause analysis, on that troubleshooting. Now, being able to write that down gives you the leverage of having a different team solve the problem. So if you hear your engine knocking and you can narrow down the focus of what's happening, you know where to take it. Now, you can just take it to a dealership and they'll fix it, but ultimately it's about being able to find the right resources to solve problems. If you've got a more complex problem and you're going to have everybody's agreed they're going to solve the problem because you have a clear problem statement that frames the problem. You have a clear root cause that identifies what contributes to the problem. Now you're going to have to do a project plan to address it. Now, again, a project plan could be 50 pages, but it doesn't have to be. It can be just a single page that outlines the key things that we talked about. It repeats the problem in kind of a statement form, describes the root cause, drives out any deliverables. Maybe you are building something and you need to have certain parts of the building done at a certain time frame. It puts those deliverables on a calendar, identifies the individuals or resources that will be involved in solving the problem, and then ultimately tracks the execution. These are all skills that help you do anything. In fact, imagine you're working at a project far above your skill level, but you have these elements in your toolbox. You can have experts help you define where the problem is. You could pass that problem over to, so I worked in IT services. We have a server that's slow. I know I can look at it and tell why the server is slow in my area of expertise, but what if it's a network problem? I don't know anything about networks and Cisco and all that stuff. I just know the basics, but I also know who to reach out to. So I reach out to the right people. They do their diagnosis. We bring together both the network analyst's diagnosis and my system analyst diagnosis, and then put that together to the problem statement. Now we can develop a plan to address it. We're not trying to blame it on the network people. We're not blaming it on the software. We're not blaming it on the hardware. We're drilling down objectively to figure out where the problem is. Once we have that problem statement, why do we have the problem? Do you see how this works? These are skills that you don't have to be 100% expert in. If you have these skills, you still create value, because otherwise people just sit around and point fingers at each other. It's just the weirdest thing. Human behavior is either it's not my problem, or it's somebody else's problem, but I haven't really investigated it, or ultimately you can take action. And for those who take action, they are rewarded by business because they're delivering real results. Now, the great thing about a project plan is that you can take that project plan to a client, and I do consultations with folks. They come to me and they tell me their problems. We outline and document the problem. We talk about the root cause, and then I present to them a plan. I said, well, look, I've seen this problem before, and here's the 3 things that you need to do to solve the problem, and here's what we're expecting as far as deliverables. They can sign off on the plan and give you a check to execute the project. See, that's why project management is so valuable. Now, you add on some specialized skill. In my case, it's risk management and supply chain management. You can add on engineering skills. Whatever skill you add to project management gives the project management specific nature. But if you can't deliver the project work, then you're not as valuable as somebody who can deliver. So again, what we're describing here is a skill set that's easy to acquire. You can use it in your everyday life, but very often people don't acquire it. They're in love with their engineering skills. They're in love with their computer science skills. They're in love with their finance skills. But again, they can't get anything done, so they actually have to yield to a higher paid manager or a higher paid leader of a company in order to be a professional or so, or actually have clients to do work with. If you learn these skills of project management, of being able to assess and evaluate situations, these are consultative skills, you're going to be able to navigate both career and business world better and literally find opportunities that the opportunity delivers way more value than the cost it is to hire you. And that's what builds the stability. You'll gain influence because as you work these projects, you'll have a certain level of expertise that you can evidence. Because again, you have a written project plan, not just some off the top of your head winging it. You have a clear analysis of the problem, so you have a better in-depth understanding of that problem. And all these things come together to put you in a position of influence. It gives you a library to work from when it comes to finding other problems in the future. And in fact, you're going to find some problems that pattern, and those patterns are going to help you identify people who always have those problems. So for example, in the business development world, if someone owns a business, they want customers. So if you know how to get customers, now you just go find the type of business that you've been able to get customers for in the past, and you show them a plan, and they sign off on the plan, and then you just get them customers. It kind of becomes cookie cutter. I guess why there's some hesitance on the project management side, because it is a little administrative and it can be boring at times, because a well-developed problem statement, you know when it's done, you know that you can test the project result by, does it solve the problem? Having a list of deliverables, you can tell exactly where you are because you've delivered the items that were on the list in advance. These types of things, while boring, are very powerful, are very in high demand, and very often put you as the leader in an area rather than just some individual contributor. I want to thank you for listening. I'm Justin Hitt with Inside Strategic Relations, and we've been talking about the skills that are necessary for you to level up, to take technical skills and turn it into high-paid positions, or to at least make you on higher demand when it comes to leading a small team or leading the field when it comes to your expertise. If you have any questions about what I've covered today, you want to visit www.insidestrategicrelations.com. Go to the contact page, simply ask a question. I would love to answer your questions on a future podcast. We have a membership site, by the way, where you can get historic content. But the podcast, I think it's got like a couple hundred episodes. So thanks for listening.